All right, now we have the RSI Arrastra question and answer thread. I'm not gonna lie, I took a peek at this before, and there's no surprise as the result of this this thread. Basically, they did what they do. So here we are, mining refined. Tackle the biggest jobs in the farthest reaches of the galaxy. So they're like literally still selling it. Is the ship still for sale, by the way, guys? Are you still able to buy this ship? Yes. Okay. So as long as you're still able to buy it, this will be good. So they waited for the Q&A and allowed people to make a decision based off of this. How do the Arrastra's refining capabilities compare to the ships like the Expanse? Doesn't exist. The Orion doesn't exist. And the Galaxy doesn't exist. What about stations that do exist? They didn't answer the question. They didn't answer the actual questions people wanted to know. So here we go. The Arrastra has 2 reactors that will allow it to run 2 separate orders concurrently. These reactors are much larger than the 6 found on the Expanse, allowing each order to contain a much higher quantity of goods. While the numbers for player-controlled refining are still being worked out, and we don't want to give specifics, which means we aren't working on it, and how can they be working on it? Because I imagine the team that works on mining, which works on salvage, which works on engineering, is the team that's going to be doing this. There's no way they have the bandwidth to be thinking about this right now, right? This ship was sold, and that's it. This ship was not meant to improve the game whatsoever, at least at the moment. It was there to sell. Expect each reactor to be able to refine the same amount an Expanse can in one go. So double the capacity of an Expanse in each refinery reactor is what that means. Okay? Expanse will be dead on arrival. I'm not sure about that, but it certainly sounds like this one's a bit better. Yeah. Compared to the Galaxy's refining module, these reactors are about the same capacity. Naturally, compared to the Orions, they are significantly smaller. Okay. So it's the same as the Galaxy. So how does the Galaxy differ? What's the point? Then it's a bit odd. A lot of people expected only this ship to be able to refine its own stuff. And I think that they addressed that in the next one. Well, they address it somewhere here. We'll get to that. So hold off on that one. Is the Arrastra able to refine Quantanium? If so, is it able to create its own fuel and use it? No, because that's what our special ship does, right? That's what our special whalebait ship does. So we can't have it doing that. Oh, no. No. That would be terrible. It can refine Quantanium as a resource, but has no way to feed it back into its fuel tanks. So Quantanium is purely generated as a commodity to sell. I saw some people really get held up on this. As in, so you're telling me that there's no way to, like have a fuel tank on your ship and refuel your quantum. Yeah, I think that's kind of like that sucks. But at the same time, you have ships like the Starfarer. There's lots of stations, then you remove the Starfarer, from the equation. And maybe there'll be smaller refuelers or whatever. I don't think Quantanium should just be for sale, though. I think maybe what I would like to see, one minor change, is that anytime you create a refined Quantanium box, that the Starfarer or any other ship that has refueling capabilities in the future is able to somehow use that box to refuel. That's all. I think that's the only change I would make, is that in a game where they're definitely going down the crafting route, Quantanium should be a part of that. So if I'm refining Quantanium for my team, I would hope that my team would be able to use it. Right? That would be my only gripe on what I'm seeing here. That's it. How do the Arrastra's mining capabilities compare to ships like the Prospector, Mole, and Orion? They're just, everything is very vague and very basic, not committing to anything because they know the ship is super far away. And they sold you something for $575 without knowing what it is. I mean, that's what happened here. They're going to figure it out as they go, and I do have faith in the team that works on mining, as long as they're still there by the time they even get to this ship. And no mention of the Starfarer and its refinery, which it definitely is going to have one. It sits between the Mole and the Orion with larger lasers capable of cracking harder rocks at greater distances than the Mole. The greater distances thing I never quite understood, but maybe they'll get to that at some point. Because they keep talking about explosion radius. Are the mining lasers on the Arrastra bespoke? What are the benefits of a size 3 mining laser? They are not, and they will have upgrade paths like other mining lasers in the game. Size-wise, they simply provide greater range and energy output by default. I asked what the negatives were. They're not saying them. Will it be possible to take the material from ore bags onto this ship and refine it, such as the one on the Prospector? Yes, the Arrastra has 2 ports capable of taking ore bags from a Prospector or a Mole and refining them. That is the key here. That is why the Expanse will not die. Let me ask you something, guys. How many ports are on a Mole? How many bags are on a Mole, I should say? How many bags are on a Prospector? There are 8. How many ports are on an Expanse? There are 8. Imagine how long it would take to refine from a Prospector or from a Mole. It would take a while. I guess you can continuously empty the bags, but I think it would be quite annoying. So I don't think the Expanse is quite dead. I imagine it's going to be more maneuverable, can go more places, can land more places, and do more things, plus this in particular. So I don't think it's dead, but they certainly will market it as dead so you spend more money on this new thing, right? $150 versus $575. They want to make you feel like that. How many does the Galaxy have? I don't think they've ever said. So I imagine the Galaxy refinery will be identical to this one, is going to be my guess. So that will be what happens here. Ships are meant to have pros and cons, yes, but when they sell ships, they only talk about the pros. When they make the ships and actually put them in the game, then we'll hear about the cons. That's why I asked, what are the cons of this thing? Why aren't we thinking about this? Why aren't we talking about this now so people can make informed decisions when they buy ships? They don't do that, right? They want you to spend the money. It is what it is. I tried to get them to say something negative about the ship. They are incapable of doing it because it goes against their bottom line, and that's all that matters here. Are there any mining lasers able to be controlled by the pilot? No. There are dedicated stations behind them, so this ship's going to be very soloable, I think, outside of the engineering stuff. Does the ship have VTOL mode for planetary mining? Yes, there are dedicated VTOLs built in the ship to allow it to hover above the surface of planets. Does the ship have a dedicated vehicle bay, or is the internal 64 SU cargo bay used for that purpose? What's the largest vehicle that will be able to fit? The vehicle bay is at the center of the cargo area. However, the two coexist with cargo grids being available at the edges of the room, and the central space is designed to hold 2 Rock DSs or 2 Ursa rover-sized vehicles. Does the external ore storage use standard SCU containers, unrefined ore bags, or something new? They use standard SCU containers to allow for a huge amount of interoperability with other vehicles in the universe. For example, when offloading and transporting cargo. Awesome. You're able to work with other ships. That's what interoperability means, is that cargo ships take SCU boxes, not bags. And that's where like the Mole and Prospector are just like, what? Are we just dead to you now? I'm confused. Which seats can control missiles on the Arrastra? The pilot seat has control over that. Are there any other entry points to the Arrastra aside from the rear ramp? There's a large docking collar, as well as a central crew elevator that goes to the ground. What amenities, like, how is this a thing? In compared to all the questions that people really needed to know, but okay. It has a shared bunk area for the crew and a separate shared habitation area for them to relax and prepare food, because that's the thing. There are no dedicated medical rooms on board. There are integrated weapon and suit storage facilities, but no dedicated armory. And that's it. So they said a lot of nothing. Okay? What I see here is them saying a whole lot of nothing. And when I go ahead and my issues with structural salvage are not around necessarily structural salvage overall. My issues are around the ship, the Reclaimer, and what it was meant to be and what it was supposed to be versus what they delivered. Now, I heard some rumblings. ISC does address some of those things. But we can't keep doing this. We can't. It'll come in 5 years, so who cares? Because in 5 years, it's going to be different than what they're selling. They keep doing this, and I think, I'm glad I didn't put in a dime into it. And it's frustrating because you don't know what it's actually going to be. I think the only thing you could take away is that the Expanse is going to be used for, I think, prospectors and moles more than anything. And I don't know, man. They're going to have to... You're going to have to figure it out. Well, we don't know anything. We don't know how quickly things are going to be refined. We don't know anything. So it's like, what is the main feature of the Arrastra? I love mining. I don't know why I would use it. So are we going down the route again of the Mole? Of like large, flies slow, but doesn't really have a place. So again, we have to address mining again. At some point, is what it sounds like. And it's like, dude, can we just move on? It looks great. I mean, that's a reason to buy it, sure. It looks awesome. I think, personally, the main feature of the ship is that it actually can defend itself. That's a big thing. So, yeah. I can't believe we're going to have to go down this route again, probably, of larger rocks, larger asteroids, balancing everything. Yeah, the 360-degree mining arc is nice. There's a few things that make it seem pretty cool, but at the same time, imagine how slow this thing flies on the surface. How often are you going to even come across minables? But then again, by this point, new star map, marking things. So it's not like the Prospector's dead. It's not like the Mole's dead. But how I see its refinery, at least, is going to be doing it's going to be mostly refining its own stuff, is my guess, because only having 2 ports sounds like a very slow and arduous process to refine, where the Expanse has 8. Makes it a little bit better, right? So we'll have to see. Yeah, I think they'll be useful in large operations with like 1 or 2 of these things, in like really, really large operations to break really, really large stuff. And we'll see. But we don't know anything. Is basically, and this hasn't told me that I feel like I need the ship in my group yet, right? So good luck if you want to spend $575 or $525 on this thing. It's probably not coming out anytime soon, hopefully, but probably not. And yeah, this didn't really tell me very much. It just told me that the Expanse might not be dead, and that's really about it.